Side chapter of Alpha Phi.
I'm Maddie Healy. I'm a new member of Alpha Phi.
I'm Carissa Carrier, and I'm the Vice President of Membership Recruitment.
I'm Allison Hayes, and I'm Assistant Chair.
I'm Maddie Kroll. I'm the Vice President of Campus Affairs.
So who is Alpha Phi? We are an organization now of 70 women. Yes, 70. There's a lot of us, and we try our best to work through our daily lives by fulfilling our values, our 6 values: service, sisterhood, scholarship, leadership, loyalty, and character development, as well as the 4 pillars of the fraternity and sorority life. First off, our first value is leadership. Not everyone has a position title within Alpha Phi, but there are so many opportunities to do so. We have over 30 positions, including exec board positions, as well as appointed positions that sisters can apply for throughout the year. We encourage sisters to be leaders in Alpha Phi as well as on campus and other aspects of our lives. So we have all the positions within Alpha Phi, but there's also honor society positions and positions within clubs, organizations, and teams that our sisters hold. We try our best to promote leadership because of how it builds your character. I know that for me, leadership has been my most treasured value since being in Alpha Phi. I actually stood up here 2 years ago in Maddie's position as a new member, and I stood up here shaking, and I was like, wow, Chapter of Excellence presentation, I'm doing this, okay. And now I'm up here as the chapter president for going on my 3rd semester in the fall, and I can't imagine my life without the leadership opportunities that Alpha Phi has given me. We've had sisters like Carissa go through ELI, which is Emerging Leaders Institute, through our Alpha Phi International. We've had a ton of sisters just become leaders just within their own lives, and I think that that's probably one of the most treasuring aspects of my college career. Is the person I've become today is probably because of the leadership through Alpha Phi.
And I'll take it from right here. So being the Vice President of Membership Recruitment, I decided I wanted to have this job because when I was going through the recruitment process with Alpha Phi, that's obviously where I fell in love with the sisterhood. And as I have been here for over the past 2 years, I've noticed a lot of things that needed to be changed, and we're very proud of those changes we've started to make. Some of the strategies we've been focusing on, especially in this past semester and the past year, are taking our recruitment events and making them more values-based, so on Alpha Phi's own values. And specifically what we started doing this past semester is we had one event that was on sisterhood, which was focused around all the bonds that we pre-existingly have, and then starting to form those with our new members. And although this isn't a values-based event, we also had one that was based on our philanthropy, the Alpha Phi Foundation, which supports women's cardiac care. And lately we have also been starting to work on this target membership program, which is something that Alpha Phi International had introduced to us when I was at conference. And basically that has to do with going out into our campus community and helping select members that we want instead of waiting for them to come to us. So for instance, I used to write for the Odyssey program, which is essentially you write articles based on just either life or lessons, and they get published through the Suny Plattsburgh community and also nationally and online. And 2 of the women that we just recruited are writers for that. And along with that, we also went out and looked into sports teams, so women who are leaders on their teams, in tennis and rugby, and we also have somebody who is on our cheerleading team here at Suny Plattsburgh. And also, we have that bullet point that says we recruited 30 women in the last academic year, and with those 30 women, we filled all of our spots that were available, and I feel that that is important and reflects how we always want to fill those available spots when they are there and just keep making valuable additions to our chapter. And we also had one COB, which is a continuous ongoing bid. When we had 1 spot left, we found a woman on campus who was ready to go, and we set up events with her so that she could meet sisters after we had already given our first rounds of bid for the semester, and then she joined our sisterhood.
So I am going to talk about the new member experience. I think a lot of times in sorority and fraternity life, it can take a little while for new members to feel 100% comfortable in the organization. That was not the case for me. I have felt comfortable since bid day with this organization, and I think it's because Alpha Phi does everything they can to make you feel as welcome as possible, not just for new members, but for everyone. I loved Alpha Phi from day one, but meeting my big IB on bid day, which is like your mentor for the pledging process, made me feel even more comfortable. When she asked me if I wanted to go to Texas Roadhouse, I knew I picked the right choice. But the welcoming doesn't stop after bid day. We have new member education once a week where you meet with your pledge class and your new member educators, and they tell you about Alpha Phi's values, about the community service, about everything they do for their community and for each other. And you do learn a lot in there, but you also bond with your pledge sisters, your new member educators, and we also did once a week meet and greets with other pledge classes. So we would get to know all the other sisters on a more personal level and get to sit and talk with them about and bond on a deeper level. The last thing we did that I really felt helped bond with us was the sister dates, which Allison will explain more about later. But basically, everything we did was to help get to know each other and feel like a true sister in the sorority. Alpha Phi does everything they can in their power to make you feel welcome, and to be in the presence of Alpha Phi is to be in the presence of true sisterhood and friendship.
So at the sisterhood chair,
It's okay. It's okay. So in the fall, we really struggled with philanthropy and service. What we doing wasn't really working. So this spring, we did an event, the Red Dress Gala, which Kim was actually the assistant for, and we raised over $1,000 just with that event. We have a few other events going on, just trying to boost our money because we didn't do very well last semester. We have Alpha FIFA in the works, which is an international event that they put on at bigger schools. We're going to try to bring that here. For service, we have a mandatory 20 hours a semester, but that was really hard for sisters to get because 20 hours is a lot, and most people are waiting till the last months of school to get it done. So me and my community service chair revamped it, so there are monthly hours that are due instead of all at once, and that's made it 100% easier for sisters to get them done. They know that by the end of the month they need to have 6 hours in. We plan at least 2 community service events a month, and that has made it extremely easy for hours to get completed. We have started to do different kinds of community service events that we weren't doing before. We volunteered at the co-op downtown. We bagged toiletries for the JCEO downtown. We still volunteer at Meadowbrook, and we've been doing stuff for the SPCA as well. Just stuff that sisters are interested in, because we feel that when sisters are more engaged in the community service, they're more excited to do it. We're working on almost starting to talk about why we're doing this service after we do it, so people understand exactly what their service is going for and what they're doing, how it's making a difference in someone else's life. Next semester, we're going to try to do a heart health week where we're going to volunteer at either a hospital or in a school to teach young girls or women more about taking care of their heart. But yeah, with community service, everyone in our chapter right now has at least 10 hours completed and are working towards the overall 20 by the middle of May. So we just keep hope to revamping the system and making sure that our sisters are effectively getting their hours in.
So again, at sisterhood chair, I was really inspired to take on this position once I went through my first retreat when I first got into Alpha Phi. I was extremely grateful to get the position because I wanted to do so much to advance our sisterhood. So I started with the sisterhood dates, like Maddie had said, where I paired up sisters who might not normally talk or hang out, because there are 70 of us, so you don't really get to see everybody. So to pair up sisters who maybe don't see each other as much, I felt like that was very effective of creating more of a sense of family, a sense of unity within our sisterhood. We also had a goal of meeting with other organizations for sisterhood and brotherhood events. So I had a potluck dinner with Theta Gamma, and where a bunch of women, we brought the food and they brought all the drinks and the desserts and cutlery and whatnot. And it went really successfully. We had a great time, and it kind of brought that organization closer to us. And we are in the midst of organizing a baseball or lacrosse game, where we're going to go with a sorority to support our Plattsburgh sporting clubs, because we feel like that is also an aspect where we want to encourage the support of not only other Greek organizations, but also other important aspects of this Plattsburgh community. We are also planning a retreat coming up so that our new members can kind of see how great it is to be able to spend just like a few hours with no cell phones, just with your sisters, and to really work on character development and leadership, and like showing that we all do really support each other, and just really go over how well the semester has gone. Lastly, I participated in one of the fraternity on campus's Pi Kappa Phi's Philanthropy Week, and it was really based off of the support you got from your sorority. And I didn't win, I got second place, but it was one of the most, I can't describe how powerful the amount of support I got through the entire week was incredible, and it's something that I'll always remember.
Scholarship, sorry, is one of our last values, and so up there it says that we collectively have logged 22,000 hours plus of quality hours. So that's something our new scholarship chair has put in place. She developed a program where we can submit hours that we've spent in the library or the Career Development Center or the Learning Center, as well as logging good grades. So B's and above, you can submit that in a Google Doc and you gain points from it. We found that ditching the study hours that we used to have before, where there was like a mandated amount of study hours that the sisters would have to complete in the week, we found that this is much more rewarding and more engaging than having the mandatory hours that people are dreading. We found that this has already become a positive impact. We started it kind of towards the end, well, like the second month of the semester, and it's already made a difference. There's a competition going around, and I think the top scorer right now has over 216 hours on her own in the library, good grades and everything, so we're hoping that carries on a little bit more. Scholarship is also something that we've been looking for in our potential new members. It's something that we are making a point to look at. We kind of fell off a little bit with the GPA for a little while, but we kind of brought it back, and we're kind of more focusing on that, so it's made a bigger priority than it was before. So who are we? It really looks like we just take a lot of pictures from here, but Alpha Phi is a group of 70 exceptional women that I am so proud to be the leader of. We are SUNY Plattsburgh athletes, we are travelers, we are leaders, we are women, and we are the Theta Psi chapter of Alpha Phi. Thank you.
I like a lot of what you're doing with the scholarship. I think definitely the philosophy of moving beyond study hours is really important. I like the connections with the faculty and the staff. For a sister who is struggling academically, what is your process of working with her or supporting her and helping her to take advantage of those resources?
So when a sister falls below a certain GPA, or that you could see that they're struggling with school, whether they make it known or not, because we have a system called Watch Care, and it's supposed to like watch out for sisters mentally, physically, that kind of thing. So when you see that a sister is like super stressed, usually we have each other to like boost us up, but also Brittany, our scholarship chair, she will set up meetings with them bi-weekly or weekly, whatever they need, to kind of sit down and like plan out with them, what do you need to get done, what's your to-do list right now, and kind of steer her on the right path and kind of get her to kind of just help her along with it. That's basically what we have in place right now for them.
Thanks.
In your discussion about leadership and the fact that because of the size of your organization, there's not positions within sorority, and you kind of talked about opportunities outside, do you, any of you have a sense of what percentage of your members are involved in a group in addition to sorority?
I don't have a number per percentage, but let me try to think about that. Yeah, I don't have a percentage number, but I know we have sisters who are in exec boards for honor societies. Girls play women play big roles on their sports teams as well. And within clubs as well, we have sisters who are on the Colleges Against Cancer board. Excuse me. Women that are involved in the student nurses program. So I don't have an exact percentage, but we do have, and we're trying to make it, that's one of our goals for next year too, is to have women participate in at least one more club or organization on campus, to kind of like have them branch out more than they are right now.
Would you mind touching a little bit about on your relationship with your chapter advisors, with faculty staff advisors, with the Fraternity Star Life Office a little bit, and how you use those relationships to better your chapter?
Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I am usually in contact with my own personal advisor within our chapter. I email her quite often, even in like the off season of recruitment, because she's very knowledgeable about it. So it's just really nice to have that constant communication, even if we can't get on the phone. And even though she doesn't live in Plattsburgh, I still email her and ask her questions, even about scheduling or like. Right now, we're in the process of planning a community service event as a recruitment event so that we can see what potential new members are passionate about service and really want to come out and do that. And a lot of that idea came from the assistance of my own recruitment advisor. And then our faculty advisor, Catherine, she comes to our exec board meetings a lot and to just chapters, so it's just really nice to see her face, especially if we're having like a stressful week. She's just a really calming presence. And she also had the same position as I did. She was vice president of membership recruitment, and she always like will just check in and say like, Carissa, like how's it going? Like I know like you want to do it all yourself, but like I'm still here if you need it, and that's just really nice. So.
Catherine was actually like a gift to us, really.
That is true.
Our international advisory board is kind of small, and they really aren't from Plattsburgh. Even though we do keep in contact, I speak with our chapter advisor, Dorothy, mostly every week. And it's nice to have her, to be in contact with her, but having Catherine is right, she's right in Hawkins Hall, and I can go there whenever. She has given me ample opportunities to go meet with her. I have a weekly meeting with her and sit down with her for an hour, hour and a half, and just kind of lay everything out. And she really helps keep me on track. And like Carissa said, she was VP of recruitment for her own chapter. She was in AOPI at UAlbany and then in Georgia. So she really has helped us a lot and has really helped me to stay in contact with everybody. As for Allison, I don't have weekly meetings with Allison, but I do email her when I need her, and she has always been a great resource to me.
Hi, ladies. So it's been fun to watch you over the few years. I think I've been watching your presentations for 4 years. Presenting in a row, 4 years in a row. And I'm just curious. You know, you're doing a lot of different things. It's great to hear some new ideas, some different strategies that you're offering your own sisters and trying to elevate your bar of excellence. So when you're bringing in these new members, as you're growing, and as you have already shared with your active sisters, right, like what the expectations are. So how is that kind of communicated to your new members of like what you expect from Alpha Phi here at Plattsburgh? And then how do you have those standards conversations with each other? So maybe not even, you don't even have to answer about the new member because you kind of talked a little bit about new member process already and new member education, but how do you have those conversations around standards and expectations with one another? Especially when there's 70 sisters and, as much as I would love everybody to understand what it means to be an Alpha Phi at all times, that might not be likely.
Well, I know you said we could focus on within our sisterhood, but I know as vice president of recruitment, like something when I was going through the recruitment process, I was left with a lot of questions. So I knew that when women were coming to events that I wanted their questions to be answered right from the beginning so they weren't going through this, like, what am I doing? Like, what do I have to do to be involved with this? How much time does it take out of your schedule? So specifically, like with our sisterhood recruitment event and even just the first like meet and greet, like I would have a presentation sort of like this that would lay out like everything like costs and time commitments and like what our fee groups are, like how often you need to go to chapter, so that right from the beginning, they have those expectations in the back of their mind, and then they're and then they're elaborated in the new member ed process.
Right, and as for our initiated sisters already, it's been a big thing for us lately to be holding people accountable and kind of like more having a teaching experience with them. If there is something that they're lacking on or they are not fulfilling the expectations or whatnot, we've had a couple meetings where we just sit down with people and we're like, I know you've been in for a little while now, here's what we're doing, here's the expectation, here's just a refresher. If you need any help with that, if you need any assistance, if there's a reason why you can't be doing something, like please let us know. Like we're very flexible, obviously, with everything. So we've kind of just made it known to them that like we're here as a resource all the time. Like we can hold you accountable, but like we can also just answer your questions on a daily basis. So we make it a point during chapter, like, does anybody have any comments, questions, concerns to like go over while we're in the process of, you know, talking about what's going on for the week.
I had a question about your service hours per month. So what happens if someone doesn't meet that requirement each month?
Actually, it has not happened yet. Thankfully, people have been really good about getting their hours in. And like, it was supposed to be 6 a month, but I did have to change it a little bit last month with spring break. It made it a bit difficult. But I'm not gonna obviously do something aggressive, and I want to encourage sisters to do hours. I don't want it to be like a punishment. So generally what I would do is I would talk to the sister, I would see like why she's struggling to get the hours in, and I would maybe like a punishment be an extra hour or the missing of the next social event. But like my goal isn't really to punish, it's to more to see the issue as to why they're not fulfilling the hours and then work it out. But honestly, it has not been an issue yet. Like sisters have been doing an amazing job of getting their hours in.
Like our international says that we could like take things away, such as like banquet and stuff, but we just don't feel as though that's necessary to do like something like that. So we kind of just have taken it into our own hands of just talking it out with them or missing the next social event, like she said.
I also feel like it's really, really hard not to get your community service hours done. Our community service chair has done an amazing job. Like we have, like the amount of community service like opportunities that she posts, like you also post on the on our page on Facebook. Like the Project Help office is constantly like pouring out hours for students all over Suny Plattsburgh campus to do. So it's super easy just to grab a few hours and like go with a sister or two and like go to the North Country Food Op. I've gone by myself a few times. It's really cool.
For April, we had at least 8 hours of sister events planned, and that's not counting things that sisters could have done outside on their own, or if they had hours left over from the months before. Like, there's so much community service that we have going on that it's almost impossible to not get the monthly requirements.
And also, like, we had 2 sisters who attended the alternative spring break through Suny Plattsburgh. That was a week full of service that they were with other organizations members that weren't just in Alpha Phi. And they came back, the chapter, after spring break, and I just, like, you could, like, feel, like, this spark, like, kind of started in our chapter after they were talking about, like, what serving really means. Like, you're doing something for that person. You're not just, like, forcing it on them, like, how you're, like, off, like, just the way to go about service really, like, pushed our sisters to go out and not be, like, complaining about it.
Right, and doing events that people enjoy has made, like, people want to do community service. I had sisters coming up to me like, this is the first semester, like, I'm actually loving doing community service. I'm loving the events where you're holding, and I was like, that's amazing. Like, that's the point of community service. Like, it's not supposed to be like a chore. You're supposed to love what you're doing. Like, you're helping your community. I think it's the best part of it.
Any last questions? Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.